Today I want to talk about loss. I get so many questions here on the channel from sellers who are overwhelmed and frustrated with a variety of situations selling on eBay where they stand to lose some money. Maybe an item they sold got returned for suspicious reasons, or they undercharged for shipping, or some buyer's trying to run a scam, or a package got lost in the mail or damaged. So many ways to lose money in this business, and I get why these situations are frustrating. I experienced them too. But here's the thing, you can't forget you're operating a business here, and no business is immune to loss. The only way to truly avoid loss in business is to not be in business in the first place. Seriously, I challenge you to come up with a business out there that doesn't experience loss. Let me know in the comment section below if you can think of one, because I can't. And loss certainly happens in reselling, quite a bit of it. I don't care what other YouTubers or TikTokers or folks down in the comments are saying, they are experiencing loss too. If they say they're not, they're lying. Loss happens. It's a part of doing business. Every successful business out there operates knowing that some amount of loss will occur. They plan for it. They don't freak out when it happens because they know it will. Instead, they take action when it does and learn from it and move on. Look, if you can't stomach the idea of loss, that's okay, I get it, but I'm afraid the only answer is to not be in business anymore. Because if you stay in business, you're going to experience loss, I promise. Your goal here is not to avoid loss completely, because loss is unavoidable. You should of course do your best to prevent loss, but your goal is to withstand it when it happens, not avoid it completely, because again, loss is not avoidable. If you focus your efforts on attempting to completely avoid loss, you're wasting your energy chasing something that's out of your control and impossible. So you need to think about what you do have control over here. If you're selling stuff to other humans, those humans are going to occasionally want to return that stuff to you. If you're sending packages across the country through a complicated network of carriers, a thing will occasionally get lost or broken. Most humans are good people, but some aren't, and some of the bad ones may try to steal something from you. Once you hear that cha-ching of the eBay app and you drop an item in the mail, you've basically lost control over the outcome and are opening yourself up to loss. It really doesn't matter how much you're doing to prevent it, you're still going to experience it from time to time, so you need to be ready for it. The only thing you have control over here is how you react to the loss when it happens. And when you react negatively to the inevitable loss, you're only hurting yourself. This concept is not exclusive to reselling or even business in general. Life is constantly swinging between loss and gain, and pain and pleasure, and happiness and sadness. Each one of us oscillates between the two at various intervals. If we're lucky, the painful parts are short and the pleasurable parts are long, but nothing is guaranteed except for the fact that whatever you happen to be experiencing in this moment won't last forever. The pendulum will swing again in the other direction at some point. This is a feature, not a bug. It's what makes life life. If you try to resist the movement between happiness and sadness and keep yourself locked into happiness, you're going to be miserable, because you'll be trying to avoid the unavoidable. Because nobody can avoid pain or loss or sadness no matter how hard they try. It's a part of life. If you attempt to control and avoid that stuff, the pendulum will just stay stuck in the middle. You'll go through life never taking risks or never being able to truly experience the pleasures of life. It's your experience of the lows that help make the highs feel high. And again, no business can avoid loss either, so stop lamenting losses in your business when they happen. They are inevitable and unavoidable. People want to return stuff. The post office is going to lose a package. You might get scammed, but you're a human who feels things, so allow yourself to feel and mourn the loss when it happens for as brief a moment as possible. But then remind yourself that loss happens in life and business, and that it too shall pass, and your business is bigger than any one loss. And remember, your goal should be to withstand the loss when it happens. An easy way to do this is to take some percentage of every sale and set it aside for dealing with future loss. That way, when the loss happens, because it will, you aren't caught flat-footed. But to be honest, dealing with the financial aspect of loss is the easy part. Not getting mentally bent out of shape when loss happens is the hard part, and so many aspiring entrepreneurs throw in the towel when they experience loss, not knowing that they could have been only inches away from the greatest successes they've ever known. So don't let loss derail you. Plan for it. Don't freak out when it happens. Learn from it, then take action and move on. All right, let's get to it. Hello and welcome back to my weekly show where I talk about the ups and downs and in-betweens of selling on eBay. We're going to be doing something a little bit different today. Instead of answering questions throughout this episode, no questions at all today. Instead, I am going to be running through, of course, my sales for the week, how I did, everything that I sold. But I'm also going to be talking about everything that I sourced and listed for the week. And so this is going to be a very sort of sourcing and sales heavy episode. I don't know if it's a good idea or not. I make this show for you. And so let me know. Let me know in the comments below. I'm also going to leave a link to a poll that will ask you whether you like this new format, whether you like the old format. Just let me know. I want to make the best weekly show that I can for you. And so we're just going to try this out without any viewer questions today and see how it goes. Let's go ahead and jump into my sales for the week. It looks like I had a gross sale amount of $801, net sales of $419. So these are relatively low numbers. These obviously in January, we're not in Q4 anymore. I'm expecting my numbers to be lower than they have been over the last several months. Part of that is because it's January and that's just typically slower than October, November, December, but also I just have not been listing and sourcing a whole lot of great inventory, which doesn't help either. And so that's why my numbers are lower. Looks like on Thursday of this past week, only a $10 day where I netted 44 cents. So not a good day at all. My average gross per sale was $29.68 and my average net per sale is $15.54 for the last 7 days. That's quite a bit lower than my average. My all-time average is right around $20 per sale. And so this just tells me we're selling a lot of lower value inventory, which makes sense. And you're going to see that on my top 10 list coming up here pretty soon. My average net profit margin here was 52%. Taking a look at some other metrics here, it looks like I spent $52 on new inventory. That's right. This is the first week, this past week, that I've sourced new inventory in the new year. It's been really snowy and frozen tundra out here in St. Louis. I just haven't really wanted to get out a whole lot. Obviously, there's no garage sales. There have been estate sales. A lot of them were canceled or postponed because of the weather, but I just haven't really felt like getting out. But I have gone and done some sourcing at some thrift stores this past week, and so we'll talk about some of that stuff that I picked up here in a second. The cost of goods that sold this week was $108, and the marketplace fees that I paid was $113, and I spent $162 on shipping labels. Looks like I had only 20 new listings, so again, far below what my goal is, and I've started off this year really poorly. It just means I'm going to have to really start to crank it up if I'm going to hit my yearly goal of listing 5 per day. I don't remember the math. You can do the math if you really want to know. But my goal is to list 5 per day or 35 per week. And I only listed 20 this week, so not great. Did have 33 sales, though, so not too bad. My average time to list is a month. That just tells me that I'm, again, not listing a whole lot of new inventory, and the stuff that I have been listing over the last 7 days have been pulled from my death pile, stuff that I've had for a while. So that's why my average time to list is higher than it normally is. The average time to sell is 7 months. Again, the stuff that I'm selling is older inventory because I'm not bringing a lot of new inventory in to my store over this last week. And my return on investment is pretty low, 353%. I think my average all time is usually 400 to 500%, I believe. So let's take a look at some of the stuff that I bought and listed this week. Starting with this Stanley thermos. I bought this a long time ago. Again, this pulled from my death pile back. I bought it at a garage sale for $1 back in June. You know, I know the Stanley craze, the Stanley Cup craze. Obviously, all people just want these types of cups. I just really didn't know a whole lot about it. I didn't know their value. I just saw Stanley and I knew that this was sort of the desirable design, and it was only $1. In fact, I picked up about 3 or 4 of them. This is the only one that I was able to hang on to. The rest got gobbled up by my family. So I did get to list this one. Not really valuable though. $12.75 plus shipping is what I have it listed for. It was not in the best condition. There was a small number of just sort of imperfections on it. So I had to drop the price a little bit, and there was no straw, so it's not that great of a pickup. This is why it's been sitting in my death pile for so long. Another thing I pulled out of the death pile here, this came from a garage sale 6 months ago. These are drill bits, vintage Irwin brand drill bits for their auger wood bits, apparently. I don't know much about this category at all. But these were new in the packaging, never been used. Bizarrely, the packaging did not include the size on there. The sizes were handwritten. I don't really know why. I'm guessing if I looked really closely, I would have been able to tell the size of these drill bits, maybe etched on the side. but I just listed them as a lot relatively low to get them up and out, and there's already a few watchers on there. So I anticipate that these will go pretty quickly. Got them listed for $26.99 plus shipping. And I did do a bulk buy recently that came with quite a few used AirPods, and I mentioned this a few weeks ago, but with AirPods, with Apple products really, it's a category I really do not like selling. And Apple products in particular, I think that they kind of attract the wrong types of buyers, and I've just had poor luck selling Apple products in the past. And so I really wanted to avoid that, but they're worth quite a bit of money, but I wanted to avoid sort of problematic buyers. And so what I did with all of these AirPods that I got, I ended up splitting them up into replacement parts, left and right, and then the charging case. You'll see here, I've got a charging case list for $29.99. I've got a left, this is an AirPod. I think these are, I can't remember if these are first or second generation, but these, I got the left one listed for $55. I got a right on a different model, second generation, for $40. I've got a right here as well, different model for $40. There's the left side of the other one for $50. So I've just broken all of these up into replacement parts, and they sell pretty quickly this way. And my experiment here is that it's less likely to draw problematic buyers, but wanting new or like new electronics. And this is people that just like, oops, I lost my left earbud and I need to find a replacement. So far so good. I haven't had any issues with these buyers, but we'll see. I also listed a couple of relatively low value video games that I had in the death pile. These were 2 copies of Need for Speed, two different Need for Speed games, I should say, for PS2 that I have listed for $30 plus shipping, and then one really cheap one here just for $9. This was a duplicate of one of the other ones. I had 2 copies of that one. And then this past week at my every week I go to the same thrift store every Tuesday for 30 minutes basically, and that includes the drive time. I drop my daughter off at piano practice, and there's a thrift store that's pretty close by, and her piano practice lasts for 30 minutes. And so I drive from piano practice to the thrift store and then back to pick her up. But at the thrift store, I end up having like 12 minutes to do shopping. And so it's definitely a speed run. It's kind of fun just to see kind of what I can find there. And this past time, I ran across a lot of pretty good t-shirts, and it seemed like these all came from somebody's personal collection. I'll just run through some of these t-shirts that I got here. So the first one here, and this is, I think, the best one, is this vintage Talladega Nights Cal Naughton Jr. NASCAR style t-shirt. This thing is hilarious. It kind of looks like one of those all over print NASCAR shirts, but it's for the movie Talladega Nights with Will Ferrell. I listed it as vintage. There was no year on it, but Talladega Nights, when did it come out actually? Talladega Nights came out in 2006, so not quite vintage, but there's no vintage police here saying that you have. Usually I consider vintage 20 years. But this, I've got it. There's no comps for this. Couldn't find an active or a sold. Actually, I didn't check product research, so maybe there's one out there. But I ended up listing this one just pretty high to start out with at $163.87. There was no other markings on it. I don't know if it was a promo for the movie. I don't know if it's made separately. The material did feel relatively old. You can see here, let's just take a look at the listing so we can see the actual photos here. Oh yeah, look at the back here. I like to picture Jesus in a tuxedo t-shirt because it says, "I want to be formal, but I'm here to party." God, that movie's amazing. So yeah, it's got some stuff on the sleeves there, as you can see. But yeah, Comfort Colors. And I'm not a huge expert on vintage t-shirts, but from what I know, I think Comfort Colors is kind of like a stock blank t-shirt company that you can buy and then get stuff printed on. So I don't know if that means it's not an original or what. I don't know, but I don't make any claims in this listing that it is, an official merch or anything like that. But I've got this. This is the best one that I found. I've got this one listed at $163, and it was $4 at the Salvation Army. And all of these shirts that I'm about to talk about came in at about $4 a pop, and that's why I ended up buying them. This is another good one from that same collection that I bought at the Salvation Army. This is a Twister movie promo shirt. When I saw this, I got really excited because I at first thought it was an original, but this definitely was a reprint, and I'll tell you how I figured out it was a reprint. We'll just go ahead and open up the listing here. It's a really cool shirt. It's like the original Twister movie. And I was thinking, wow, just because the second Twister came out relatively recently, so this is probably going to be a good buy. The fabric felt kind of thick and vintage-like. But as I was looking at it, this is the back right here. Opens May 10th, 1996 in theaters. This feels like a sort of like premiere promo shirt that was made back in the 90s, but it wasn't. And the reason, how I found out that it wasn't is this right down here, this sort of Youth Energy logo. That I ended up Googling Youth Energy, and it's just like a company that makes reproductions of shirts, or they make their own shirts, and I'm assuming they're licensed, but it's just not an original, unfortunately. I still priced it up, though, because you can't really find this shirt anywhere, and somebody may want this shirt already, and in fact, it does have several watchers, but I specifically did not put vintage in the title on this one because I do not think it's a vintage piece. It is a reprint, but cool shirt nonetheless. I also, right in that same collection, there was the exact same shirt design, but on a hoodie. And this is another way that you just know that this was not an original, is because it's 5XL. Like, I don't think they made 5XL shirts like this in the 90s. Maybe they did, I don't know, but I don't think so. Also a couple of vintage looking Blink-182 shirts. Again, I don't think these are original 90s. I did not put vintage in there, but I did put 90s and Y2K just as the style. This is a double XL. I got another Blink-182 t-shirt in the same way. This one's triple XL. I have this one. I originally thought this was an original, so I listed it for $114. You can see I dropped it down to $54.78 after finding out that it probably is not an original, but I still think it'll sell for that. Another t-shirt from that same collection is this Hot Rod. This is a movie from 2007, so not quite vintage. This one's an interesting one. I think this one was definitely a true vintage Garth Brooks Friends in Low Places t-shirt here. I listed this one for $47. Strangely enough, I couldn't find this exact comp, but a lot of vintage Garth Brooks t-shirts just aren't worth that much money. I thought it was going to be worth more. Another shirt from this collection as well, this Surf Ninjas movie, double XL. This one did have an exact comp that sold right around the $60 range, so I think I will get that price for it. Let's see, what else? I think the only other thing I picked up this week was this Rabbit automatic electric corkscrew. I got it at a Savers for $6, and it was brand new in the packaging. Normally, I pass on any sort of corkscrew things like this, especially the Rabbit brand. They're just not worth a whole lot of money, but this one was brand new in the packaging, and it is an electric one. It's only listed for 19 plus shipping, but I'll make probably 10 or 15 bucks on it. And so that's pretty much everything I picked up new this week and listed on eBay this week. Let's jump into my top 10 sales for the week. Coming in at number 10 is this Ralph Lauren women's shirt. I got this with a lot of other Ralph Lauren pieces at a garage sale. I paid $2 a piece for these Ralph Lauren shirts back in September. This one sold in 4 months for $20.46, $13.47 plus $6.99 in shipping. When I bought these, it's huge, just a stack of probably 15 of them at a garage sale. I was pretty excited, but then I learned that they were women's after I got them home, and the women's were just less valuable, and so I didn't end up making as much money off of this collection as I thought I would, but they're still selling. It's not too bad. The net return for the 10th best flip was $9.63. That's how you know it's a pretty slow week on eBay, is when we're in my top 10 sales and I'm making less than $10 on a net return. So pretty slow week. Coming in at number 9 is this Turn and Learn. This is a toy, a sort of educational toy. This is a great category to look out for, especially at garage sales and estate sales. You see them at thrift stores as well every once in a while, but these sort of educational toys can be worth quite a bit of money. This one was not worth a whole lot of money. This was only $20 basically with free shipping. I had a net return of $10.74 for the 9th best flip of the week. But these educational toys can be pretty valuable, and I do pick up educational toys quite a bit when I see them. They're usually very cheap, and often they can sell for quite a bit of money. This one didn't, but sometimes they can. Coming in at number 8 is this fishing reel. This one came from a collection that a friend gave me for free of these old, mostly not in super great shape fishing reels. This Garcia Mitchell, I believe, is a French brand. If this thing was in good condition, it would have been worth a lot of money, but it was rusted and dented in places, and I basically sold it for parts. $21.98, that's $14.99 plus $6.99 in shipping. I didn't have any money into it, so that ROI is not going to be calculated, but the net return for the 8th best flip of the week was $11.14. There were some other fishing reels in this collection that were worth quite a bit more, like in the $50 and $60 range. This is just one of the cheap ones that instead of redonating it, I was like, well, I'll get a few dollars for it. And I did. Coming in at number 7 is this Animal Crossing New Leaf game. This thing, where did I get this? I don't even know. It's from a direct buy, and this is before I was breaking my direct buys into individual categories, so I don't remember what direct buy this is from, but I did buy it back in June of 2023, so about 18 months ago it looks like, and I've got a $3 cost of goods on it. It sold for $24.99, free shipping. The net return for the 7th best flip of the week was $13.60. Not sure why this thing took so long to sell. My assumption is that the sell-through rate was pretty good. I probably just priced it high and never went back and adjusted the price, and eventually the market corrected itself to a point where this ended up being priced correctly. That's my guess. I'm not sure, but happy to get it out the door. Coming at number 6 are these cabinet knobs, these not doorknobs, but I guess, yeah, for a kitchen cabinet from Anthropology. And so we got these, where did we get these? At a estate sale, and I bought 20 of them for $20, so $1 a piece. Looks like I sold 8 of them, and this was to the same buyer, but they came in through 2 different orders. They ordered 6 of them and then realized they needed 8 of them, so ordered a second batch of 2, and I ended up shipping them together. So the net return on that first order was $14.71, and the net return of the second order was $6.73. You'll see that says $0 cost to ship. That's because it was combined with the previous order. But the net return so far on all of these was only $9.44. How's that possible? Oh, because it's considering the total purchase price. And so that's my net return on this entirely. So on that $20 buy, I've basically had a total payout of $29.44. So not bad. Coming in at number 5 is this Seattle's Sounders soccer jersey. I got this at a collection. It was at a garage sale, I believe. Yeah, so it was a collection of a bunch of different soccer jerseys at the same garage sale for $5 a piece. I bought a lot of them. I love buying soccer jerseys. They're often can be worth a lot of money. The really good ones from that collection that I bought have sold a long time ago, but this is one of the stragglers. I think the size didn't help it at all. It was a men's small, but it sold for $31.98. That's $24.99 plus $6.99 in shipping, and the net return for the 5th best flip of the week was $16.89. Again, soccer jerseys can just do really well. I love buying soccer jerseys. They're just fun, colorful, interesting patterns and designs, and it's a category I really like buying, and so keep an eye out for soccer jerseys. You really want to almost always stay with major brands, Nike, Adidas. You'll see a lot of soccer jerseys that are just have no brand on them. That doesn't mean they won't sell. Sometimes they will, but they're typically not going to be worth as much money. So stick with the good brands. These also can be counterfeit sometimes, so you got to be careful with that. I don't really know how to check whether they're counterfeit or not. Sometimes you can just tell when they're just really poor quality, but this one felt high quality. Did not think it was counterfeit. It was good to go. Coming in at number 4, here's some replacement parts here for a Cuisinart. This is just the motor, and so I buy these all the time, whether it's at a garage sale or thrift store. Typically, they're not going to be too expensive. This one came from a garage sale, had a purchase price of $2, so that probably means that I paid $5 for the whole thing and broke it up into a bunch of different pieces and gave $2 as the cost for this one in particular. I almost always make good money on these things just by selling them as for parts and replacement pieces. Often I'll make more money doing it that way than I would if I sold the whole unit on its own. So this one just broke everything out into every sellable piece that I could. I do not sell the blades. Often the blades will get pulled from eBay and you'll get a ding on your account because they've been recalled. Some of them haven't, some of them have. I just have a new rule that I just don't sell any Cuisinart blades at all because I don't know which ones are going to be recalled. So I usually toss or end up redonating the blades and selling basically everything else. This one sold for $39.98. That's $29.99 plus $9.99 in shipping. Only cost $8.65 to ship. I just use a flat rate shipping on all of my items, and so I approximate what I think it will cost to ship, and usually I'm pretty good. Sometimes I am a little low, sometimes I'm a little high, so I end up losing a little money or making a little bit of extra money. This one I made, about $1 extra on the sale just because it cost a little bit less to ship. But the net return for the 4th best flip of the week was $22.83. Coming in at number 3, one of those replacement AirPods that we were talking about earlier. This one sold for $49.99 free shipping. Only took a day to sell. The net return for the what was this? 3rd best flip of the week, $33.66. So these just, obviously they're very cheap to ship. They're going to cost $4 roughly to ship. So I don't mind doing free shipping on this because you just know how much it's going to cost to ship no matter where. Yeah, this one costs $3.98 to ship because they come in at like an ounce basically, plus the packaging material might be maximum 2 ounces to ship these things. I do give them a good cleaning, so I just get a Q-tip and some alcohol and rub it around in there. It's kind of gross cleaning someone else's AirPods, but $50, I'm willing to do it. So coming in at number 2 is this Smart Wool sweater vest. This is a men's extra large. Smart Wool is a very good brand to keep an eye out for. They make all sorts of things, and I was really surprised that this was as valuable as it was. This sold for $56.98. That's $49.99 plus $6.99 in shipping. Only took 13 days to sell. What did I pay for it? I've got $6 into it from a bulk buy. The net return for the 2nd best flip was $37.87. But anytime I see smart wool, I always pick them up. Even the socks are worth buying. And so it's just a really high quality brand. Definitely pick it up if you see it out there. That leaves us with number 1, this Anthropologie monogram light up. I don't even know, like little, I was going to say statue. It's not a statue. It's a, I don't know. It's a big letter. You know, this thing is actually pretty big. It's probably 1.5 feet tall. We got this. This is interesting. My wife bought this on Poshmark back in December of 2023 for personal reasons. Only $17. I can't believe she got it that cheap. That's sort of crazy. But it sold when she listed it. I guess it's been listed for a while. Actually, it's been listed for about a year. But it sold this past week for $109.98. That's $99 plus $9.99 in shipping. That's a lot of nines right there. The net return for the best flip of the week was $68.61. These things are just really cool. They light up. They have a little thing on the back that you can turn on, a timer and LED lights in this, and they light up. It's a really cool piece. I'm not really sure why my wife is selling it. I guess we're not using it anymore, whatever. But it was a really nice sell. I just can't believe that she got that off Poshmark for $17. I'm probably overlooking a lot of opportunity to buy on Poshmark and flip on eBay. Do y'all do that? Do we have any people watching that buy on Poshmark and flip on eBay? I know a lot of people buy on eBay and flip on eBay. Curious to hear. Do you source on Poshmark and flip it on eBay? Find good deals that way. Seems like this was a good one. All right, thank you so much for watching. Let me know in the comment section below what you think of the change in format. I'm not stuck to any format in particular. I'm just trying to mix things up and see what y'all like. Maybe you like more sourcing and more talking about more stuff that's worth buying to resell. Maybe you missed the questions. Let me know in the comment section below. I'd love to hear from you. And if you're looking for more videos to watch of mine, YouTube thinks that you might like this video or even this video. So check it out, and we'll see you next time.